Welcome everyone to Doga Yoga. My name is Melody and today we're doing a beautiful, slow and relaxing slow flow. So we're moving a little bit. We're not quite going into yin holding pose for 3 minutes or more, but this is a time for you to relax, really calm the mind. You still get that little bit of movement so you can get a little bit of energy out, but it's just really a relaxing way to start or finish the day. So we're going to come into seated to start with. Now, if seated is uncomfortable for you in cross-legged, extend one leg. Bend the knee as much as you need. It's not about how much we can cross our legs. What we're focusing on is trying to gain length. So imagine there's a string attached to the top of your head and it's just kind of pulling you to the roof or pulling you to the sky a little bit. Feel your vertebrae kind of lengthen and kind of stretch out. Feel your core activate as we breathe. Now we're going to place one hand on one knee, one hand on the other, close down the eyes and start to focus on our breath. We're going to inhale, fill the belly, the ribs, the collarbones. And exhale, release. Feel the belly, the ribs, the collarbones, feel them expand, notice the sensations. And exhale, release. Start to draw your awareness inward. Draw your awareness onto your mat, into your body today with the rise and fall. Start to let go of the thoughts of the future and the past, the to-do lists. My God, the to-do lists. Let them go. And just allow yourself to be present. Allow yourself to focus on the sensations, feelings that come up in the here and now. By slowing down our breath, slowing down our movement, we allow ourselves to take time to observe, take time to appreciate what's going on physically, emotionally. Instead of the constant rush, the busyness, the quickness, going from one thing to the next, never stopping to see how we truly are in the here and now. A few more breaths like this, just really grounding yourself, sinking yourself, melting yourself onto your mat for this beautiful slow flow practice today. When we're ready, we're gently going to just send our palms wide. Face them up. Imagine we're holding dishes out. Opening up our chest. Our gaze goes slightly high and breathe. Feel the expansion in the chest. Notice the difference side to side. Does one plate feel heavier than the other? Just send your thumbs towards the back of the room. When you're ready, gently reach the fingers above you, touch the palms together, hold here, reach as high as we can, squeeze the biceps in towards the ears. When we're ready, we're gently going to place the left hand down, so I'm mirroring you, and reach the right hand over towards the left. Now I'm coming onto the forearm, but you might be like, yeah, no, Mel. So you might come onto the fingers to help you, or a block, or a book. You can come onto the palm or come down to the forearm if it feels good for you. So inhale, find length and soften. Find length and soften. Flow here with your breath. Imagine you're grounding down that right hip, feeling a stretch all through the side body. Now our gaze goes high to the sky. Lean back a little and just notice the opening in the rib cage. When you're ready, come on up. I'm simply going to slowly swap sides. Coming onto the fingers or a block or a book. Into the forearms, sending our gaze towards the sky and just flowing with that breath. Notice what happens on that inhale, that big, beautiful, expansive breath. And exhale, just let gravity do its thing. Just relax and release, guys. Enjoy the moment. Slow down. We don't need to be moving to have things happening. Often the great things happen when we stop and be still. It's quite a conundrum. And already come back to center. Let's place our fingertips beside our hips. Press our pinkies into the earth and find that length. Imagine that string pulling us up once more. Before we fold over, so we're just going to lean forward. So place one hand in front of us and then the other. And you might lean forward just a millimeter. So you might have your hands on your knees and just lean forward and feel this beautiful release in your lower back. So that is absolutely perfect. I'm so happy that that feels good for you. Or if you'd like to go on, if you're like, oh, I have a little bit more space there, then just start to walk your fingers forward. You might just be on the fingertips here, keeping length in the spine. Or you might be able to walk the fingers all the way out, bring the forehead towards the earth, and you might be like, Melody, you're crazy. Just find your space where you can feel a nice lower back and hip release and connect with that breath. Relax the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, sway side to side. And come on up. We're going to swap. So if you have one leg extended bent, bring it around. I'm in kind of like a half lotus type thing, so I'm going to swap my feet around. So whatever you have forward, bring to the back. Whatever you have back, bring to the front. I was going to say bring to the forward, front, words. There we go. And we're going to find that length once more. Imagine that string is pulling us up, hands on the knees. Shoulder blades are melting down the back. Oh, that feels so nice. And this might just be here. I can feel this in my right hip. It feels really lovely. Or you can just lean forward that millimeter. So just kind of like hinge at the hips, ground that tailbone down still and feel that deeper release. If you might want to take your hands off your knees, have them in front of you, be here. If you have a little bit more space, just experiment. So we're not rounding out the spine to get our forehead towards the earth. That's not the aim of the game here. What we're doing is finding this beautiful release. So find length on our inhale. Imagine that string is kind of like pulling us on a 45-degree angle towards the camera. And relax. Might sway. Might be still. Just explore. Yoga and all movement is just an experiment. So just because I say something should be a certain way doesn't mean it's going to be a certain way for you. Our bodies are all unique, and that is absolutely amazing. So my posture and what might feel good for me will not feel good for you. So I really encourage you. I think it's amazing that you can make this practice your own. The beauty of online yoga, modify as much as you need, and just play with your body, meet it where it's at, and find joy in the movement. Find joy in what you can do and the fact that you're taking time for yourself and stepping onto that. And already come on up. We're going to slowly make our way into tabletop. So for those who haven't done tabletop before, it pretty much means just come onto all fours. Wrists underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. The tops of our toes, our toenails, are going to press into the mat today. We're going to spread our fingers wide and just point our crown of the head towards the front of the room, tailbone towards the back of the room, and just hold here. So we're going to breathe. We're going to press into all 5 fingers and just sway to make sure we've got weight into our fingers and not just our wrists. When we're ready, we're going to push into the tops of our toes and lift our knees off the ground just for a moment. For as long as you can, breathe here. Still point that crown of the head towards the front of the room. So instead of it going down, we want it to point towards the front of the room. The shoulder blades are down the back still. I know it's harder that way, but it's good. And when we're ready, if you're still with me, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, drop it down. Now we're going to drop our belly. So send our navel towards the ground. Get it as close as we can. Gaze goes forward into the sky. So a really nice C shape in the spine for cow. And then exhale, we're going to go another way. So get our belly button as far away from the mat as we can. Really curl the spine up, chin to chest. And send our gaze towards that belly button as well. Cat. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Take your time here. Wriggle side to side. Freestyle if you like, or just continue with your cat and cow if you're really enjoying that sensation. So I'm really liking the side to side today, so I'm just going to sway side to side, getting it out of my spine. And already we're all going to come back to center and find our tabletop once more. So crown of the head shining towards the front of the room, tailbone shining towards the back of the room. Really nice and active. So we're not kind of like hanging out here. The arms are kind of, imagine we've got a beach ball in between our biceps and we've got to hold it there, or a balloon. We don't want it to blow away, so squeeze them in towards one another. When we're ready, we're going to kick our right foot behind us. Now toes kind of flex, they're pointing towards the ground. Imagine we're kind of pushing that foot into a wall. And just hold here, take your time. Breathe. Find that beautiful breath, that inhale and exhale. Lift it a little higher, a little higher. Now when we're ready, we're going to take it out towards the side. So step it out. And we want to just push into that outside edge of the foot. Imagine we're holding something really important. Maybe it's a letter from a loved one, $50 note, whatever it is for you. Just imagine we're holding something really important into the ground. We don't want the wind to take it away in that foot. Now walk our hands towards our knees, roll on up. Oh, so nice. Big arm circle up, overhead, fingertips touch. Little back bend if you like here, super nice. Then hands come back to heart center. Now this might be enough for you. You can place your hands on your hips here because you might really be focusing on balancing here, really pushing into that foot, activating this kneecap, and just finding your stability in this space. It's a posture that we don't really come into that often in our day-to-day lives, but really, really great for our hips and opening up this front thigh. Now if you'd like to go on, big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch, grab that left wrist and we're going to lean towards this right foot. Gaze goes high, kind of goes underneath that armpit towards the sky. So still activate the legs, squeeze the kneecaps, and find that nice side body stretch like we did when we were just leaning side to side at the start of class. Focus on that breath, that big inhale and exhale. Ready, come back. Hands go wide, sweep them down, or come down into all fours, however you can. Now we're going to keep on going with this right foot, so pick up that knee and step this foot in between our hands. So get it here however you can. You might have to pick up this ankle and wriggle it, so you might actually have to get it here quite a bit. So just going to sink the hips down to the ankle and knee are in alignment. So just take some time to make sure they're in alignment, just so we can just put weight there. It's just super easy to put weight into our big toe and sink the hips down. So super, super nice. Feel that release on the left side. Now this might be tough for you to get your fingertips onto the ground here. So I recommend grabbing some Harry Potter books, some blocks, yoga blocks if you've got them at home as well. For a lot of you might not have blocks, so just grab books. Harry Potter books are great. J.R. Tolkien, great. Get them there to get the ground closer to us. So that's what they're really there for, to get the ground closer to us. So come on up, sink on down. Oh, so nice. Now you can stay here. This is perfectly beautiful. It's really opening up our hips. It's also quite strengthening. If you'd like to come on, place your hands on your knee. We're going to rise on up into a low lunge. So you might stay here with your hands on your knee for balance. Or if you'd like to go on, take the hands high to the sky, reach them and sink the hips down. Just glance down for a moment. See if you can see your big toes. If your knee's kind of tracking inwards, send it out. Imagine we're pointing our knees towards our pinky toes. Not our pinky fingers, pinky toes. There we go. So open up the chest here, sink the hips a little deeper. If you're wobbling, if you fall out, that's okay. It's called a practice for a reason. And when we're ready, hands wide. Reach them towards the back of the room. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Ooh. Sit them down, frame that front foot, and come back into our tabletop position. Give yourself a little wriggle. Take some time, take some circles in the hips. You might take your cat-cow. Just move intuitively. When we're ready, we're going to push this left foot back. Hold it here. Imagine we're pushing into a wall. So those toes are flexed towards the face. We're pushing the soles of the feet into a wall. Lift it a little higher, a little higher. and then out to the side. Plant that foot down. Imagine we're kind of pushing something really important into the ground. We don't want it to fly away. Now walk our hands towards our knees, roll on up. Big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch and back to heart center. No option here to have the hands on the hips just for balance. You might just be like figuring out this posture for the first time. You're like, what's this sensation? Am I in the inner thigh? Do I lean back a little bit? Just find play. It's all an experiment. If you'd like to go on, big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch. Grab the right wrist and lean towards the left. Gaze goes high towards the sky underneath that armpit. Lean back a little bit, notice the sensation and just flow with that beautiful breath. When you're ready, come on up. Hands go down. Now you can come back into your tabletop or you can come straight into your lunge. So you can not let this foot touch the ground. If you want a little bit extra, get it through. Open up into your lunge. Books here are great to help bring the ground closer to us. So get your ankle and knee into alignment. Really push into this front big toe. And when we're ready, hands on the knee, come up. You might just stay here. Finding your stillness, finding your peace, finding your center. Finding a little bit of yourself again here. If you'd like to go on, sweep the hands high to the sky. Into a low lunge. Breathe here and just find that inner strength, that inner self. So we often focus on that person who's like telling us we're not good enough, who can be a bit of an a-hole sometimes in our minds. The person who kind of does the to-do list, who wakes you up at 2 a.m. going, this hasn't been done today. So that's not the real you. That's what we call in yoga the ego mind. It's kind of like the thing that tells us we're always important, that we're never good enough, etc., etc. But underneath that kind of those surface thoughts, those kind of ripples, those waves that are always kind of like fluttering, there's the deeper you. There's the you that is ever strong, ever present, and ever loving. So let the kind of eddies and whirls and waves settle and slow. And connect with that self that is strong beyond imagining. It's just calm and centered. When we're ready, send our hands behind us, open up. Really squeeze the shoulder blades together, reach the fingers to the back of the room. Then come on down, back into our tabletop position. Now we're going to walk our hands towards our knees here, coming straight into camel. So we're going to roll on up. You might just stay here, hands on your hips, just finding your balance. You might have a cushion underneath your knees as well. Now we're just going to do a gentle back bend to just open up our lower back a little bit. So, heel of the hands, just going to get into that cushy part of the lower back. If we've all got lower back issues, we definitely know that part because it's always sensitive. Just give yourself a little bit of very, very gentle love, massaging one side and then the other. One and then the other. If you would like to go on, if camel is part of your practice regularly, fingertips to the ribs, heel of the hands into that fleshy part, and just start to send the hips forward, shoulders back. So just nice opening up of the lower back here. You can take the full expression, feet or hands onto the feet. I was going to say feet onto the hands, words. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, smile. And already rise on up. And collapse, fold into a mini child's pose. So hips towards the heels, forehead comes towards the earth, and hands come towards the feet. We're just kind of like folding up. Our body can fold up nice and compactly when it needs to into our full child's pose. Just find some connection to the earth. Find that slowness, that breath. When you're ready, slide your hands forward. Come on up, cross the ankles, and roll on over onto our backs to finish today's class. So our knees are facing the ceiling. Our feet connect to the earth. Hands are by our hips. Oh, hello, puppy. Where have you been?
The star of the show has arrived. Everyone, welcome Merlin. So we're going to send our right toes to the sky and just play here. You might have your knees super, super bent. Your foot might be flexed, kind of like takes a little bit of pressure off the calf. So just be here and we're just kind of getting a bit of strength and a little bit of stretching, into this leg. If you want to go on, point the toes, play here, stretch and flex the toes, getting into the shin and the calf. You might play with sliding the hands up the calf and bringing the toes towards the face. Super nice. You might sway side to side here. Or you might just start to take little circles, super little circles one way and then the other, kind of massaging out the hip. It's really nice to feel that, connecting to the earth. And already place that foot down. Take the left foot high. You can have that knee super bent, foot flexed or straight. And just play with flexing and pointing the toes, getting into the shin, into the calf. You might take circles with the ankle. Bring those toes. You might play sliding the hands up to the shins. Bring those toes towards the face, getting a really nice hamstring stretch here. You might sway side to side. You might just point the toes towards the sky and take little circles one way. And then the other. Just can be big circles, little circles. Just really notice the sensation of the lower back connecting with the earth here. And already, gently place it on the ground. Send the legs long, feet flop out to the side, palms up. And just, we're slowing down to a stop here. To find your stillness with 10 deep, beautiful breaths. And you're ready. Send your hands up overhead. Stretch. Oh, so nice. Wriggle the fingers and toes, roll the wrists and ankles. Make your way onto a side that suits you, using your arm as a pillow. And come on up in your own time into a seated position. We'll take one big arm circle all together, up overhead, fingertips touch, back to heart center. Sending lots of love and gratitude to beautiful yogis. Namaste.